Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're unpacking a truly fascinating explainer focused on Eastern philosophy and cosmology. We're drawing our insights directly from a transcribed lecture from Daesun Jinraho, which dives incredibly deep into the fundamental forces that govern absolutely everything from our own internal health to the literal architecture of the cosmos. We're going to decode exactly how ancient concepts of yin and yang are applied to both the micro and the macro universe. It is a stunning journey, so let's get right to it.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap for today. We're going on a micro to macro journey. First up, water and fire moving the universe. Second, yin-yang principles hidden in the body. Third, Susung Wagang, the circle of life. Fourth, hidden codes in bells and drums. And finally, the shift from an incomplete to a complete universe.
All right, Section 1, water and fire moving the universe, the physics of the cosmos.
Now, you might be wondering, where does a cosmic truth even begin? The source material makes a brilliant point right out of the gate. Profound truths actually start right next to us in our everyday lives, and then they expand outward. Think about this for a second. Why does a simple half bath feel so deeply restorative? Or why are we always told to keep our heads cool and our feet warm? Well, the answer lies in the fundamental physics of the universe.
According to the text, simple acts like taking a half bath or mixing what they call yin-yang water, which is hot water poured first, topped with cold water, rely on forcing elemental opposites to interact. Fire, or heat, is yang and naturally wants to rise. Water, or cold, is yin and naturally wants to sink. By putting the cold on top of the hot, they're forced to push through each other, creating this really dynamic, healthy cycle of circulation.
Let's scale that up, like way up. The lecture compares these exact same elemental forces to modern astrophysics. Fire is the ultimate yang. It's expansive, scattering, outward moving. It's basically the Big Bang. Water, on the other hand, is the ultimate yin. It's condensing, unifying, inward moving. Think of it like the Big Crunch. The source argues that the entire universe is just a massive, ongoing repetition of these two forces, the explosive expansion of fire and the cool contraction of water.
Moving on to Section 2, yin-yang principles hidden in the body, the internal ecosystem.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how these grand cosmic elements battle it out right inside human anatomy. The speaker uses a fantastic modern analogy here. Your brain acts just like a computer CPU. It generates a ton of heat and needs constant cooling, which is water, so it doesn't overheat, which is fire. If your internal fire runs wild and rushes to your head, the text says you fall into a sick, chaotic state called Ju Huai Ip Ma. Basically, fire is running rampant. But the ultimate goal is Suseng Huagang, which is a state of perfect circulating health.
So in a sick body, these natural forces are just running totally unchecked. Fire rises to the head, making it hot and stressed. Water sinks to the lower body, leaving the feet completely cold. It's terrible for circulation. A healthy body, however, completely reverses this natural physics. Water is actively pulled up to cool the head, and fire is pushed down to warm the core and the feet, which breeds immense vitality.
Section 3, Sisung Huagang, the circle of life.
And this brings us to the absolute core philosophical solution presented by the text Susung Wagang. This literally translates to water ascending, fire descending. The source makes it very clear this doesn't just happen on its own. Left to their own devices, water falls and fire rises, completely separating from each other. Susung Wagang requires conscious human effort to reverse natural physics, forcing the elements to circulate and achieve a state of harmony. So it's basically the ultimate health hack, but philosophically it's viewed as a spiritual duty.
So how do you actually pull this off? The lecture points out that while physical danji and breathing exercises can be pretty tough for beginners, there are totally accessible ways to do it. First, you have to control your anger. Anger acts like throwing literal fuel on your internal fire, sending it rushing straight to your head. By calming your mind, water naturally begins to rise. On top of that, the source heavily suggests using the Tailju incantation. Chanting this specific mantra is presented as a really powerful, accessible sonic tool to trigger this healthy internal loop.
Section 4, hidden codes in bells and drums, architecture as cosmology. We can actually see this internal health principle encoded right into the architecture around us. Have you ever stopped to look closely at a traditional temple pavilion? In traditional Buddhist pavilions, the bell, which represents deep, lingering water or yin energy, is placed on the bottom. The drum, representing sharp, fiery yang energy, is placed on top. Philosophically, the lecture argues that this represents a stagnant, separated, and incomplete state, because the fire is stuck at the top and the water is stuck at the bottom.
But Daesun Jinraho's architecture completely flips the script.
As the speaker explains, in their modern pavilions, the drum, the fire, is placed on the bottom. The bell, the water, is placed on the top. This isn't just some aesthetic choice, it is a massive theological message. It symbolizes Susunhwagang in actual building form. It represents a healed, circulating, complete universe where water is above and fire is below.
And this brilliantly illustrates how this architectural code perfectly matches the ancient I Ching, or Book of Changes. Check out hexagram 64, called Hor Shu Mi Ze. It shows fire over water, and it literally translates to incomplete. But hexagram 63 shows water over fire, which means complete. So this architecture is a literal 3D representation of these ancient cosmic codes.
Section 5. From an incomplete to complete universe, the cosmic shift.
This is where the personal, the architectural, and the cosmic all tie together. The lecture reports a really profound doctrine regarding the universe's evolution. It states that our current era, with all its division and inequality, is fundamentally a sick state, operating with fire over water exactly like a stressed human body. But the universe is inevitably transitioning into a new era of harmony. It's shifting to a water over fire state, promising the ultimate end of all this division and disease.
But how does this massive shift actually happen? Well, the lecture introduces the concept of the Samtaeguk. Normally, we just think of yin and yang, heaven and earth, fire and water. But the Samtaeguk adds a third absolutely crucial element, humanity. Represented by the color yellow, which signifies earth, humanity acts as the ultimate mediator. We're the ones actually tasked with stabilizing and circulating these conflicting forces of heaven and earth.
And how exactly do we mediate? By applying this physics lesson directly to society. Just as water must be actively pulled up and fire pushed down for physical health, the text argues for a total reversal of societal structures. True cosmic harmony requires uplifting marginalized, weaker individuals over the powerful and strong. It's an incredibly literal social application of Susunhwagang, elevating the yin and lowering the yang, to resolve historical grievances and finally bring about a harmonious new era.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question inspired by all this. When you look at your own life, your body, your society, is your world operating at a state of division where the fire is rising and the water is sinking? Or are you actively doing the work to push the water up, pull the fire down, and move toward complete harmony? It's a remarkably powerful lens through which to view the universe. Thank you so much for joining me today, and keep exploring.